Live again in the flesh. It is late. It is a late night here. It's a Monday night of all nights in Melbourne. To be doing a live stream is probably not the most popular time in the world, but either way, it's you got to act on intuition. You got to go with the flow kind of state. So tonight we're gonna have a real chill chat about basically self-preservation and how it relates to kind of overconsumption, or should I say it defeats overconsumption. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to just have a little nibble of some dinner and we'll wait for some people to come into this chat room. Okay, let's go. So, welcome to Semen Retention. Usually, I like to make most of my videos about semen retention, but now I'm starting to expand this channel into some new kind of areas. And, sometimes I can't help but find some connection to, I guess, the self-preservation journey and other things that I might want to talk about, and that's what we're going to highlight today is overconsumption. So we're clearly in a kind of weird time in humanity right now where we are overconsuming a lot of things. We're overconsuming, the obvious thing is food, with the in the West, you just look around and you see some really fat people out there. They're just really consuming a lot of food, more than necessary. And then, we've got other things like we're over consuming media, we're over consuming ideas, we're over consuming opinions, we're over consuming comments, we're over consuming quite a lot of things, right? So, what I want to highlight in today's episode is how self preservation is going to help you become someone that doesn't overconsume things. So, when you start a self preservation or a celibacy type of journey, you'll notice that there's a lot of karma that is being attached to you, especially if you were someone that was fornicating and, you know, just having kind of, I guess, impure relations with other people, you know. You get to a point where you have to kind of burn all this karma. You have to burn all these issues and all these things that you've had in the past. So you get to a point where you're like, okay, well, I need to like address these things. So for me, I had to quit smoking. I had to quit smoking tobacco, marijuana. I stopped vaping. I started just going for walks and runs and all that kind of stuff, and lost basically 10 kilos in about, I don't know, 4 months or something like that. And this was important because the act of self-preservation and celibacy and semen retention is to hold back from giving yourself a reward, okay? So holding back from giving yourself a reward, so for instance, if you are to release, if you are to ejaculate, essentially you're telling your body, you're telling your brain that you are literally doing something good. You've found a mate, you've found a partner, and here's your reward. Here's this chemical we're going to put in your brain that's going to make you feel good when it happens. Guys, let's be honest. If it didn't make you feel good, you wouldn't do it, right? So this is a chemical reaction in your brain. Whereas when you start to preserve and hold on to this seed, you start to rewire your brain and you're saying, hang on a second, no, I don't need to look at that content. I don't need to call up that girl. I don't need to text this person. I don't need to go on these dating apps. I don't need to, you know, toy with the idea of this person that I go to work with or whatever. It's like you don't need to fantasize about that stuff, because in your head you're just thinking, I know where the real rewards are in life. And for me, that's like my music. That's like kind of saying, you know, I know that if I do some practice on my songs or if I record some songs, I know that's going to benefit me as a musician. But, you know, to go out and go try and court some girl off a dating app and, you know, maybe spend 2-3 hours of my time meeting her out for dinner or spending some money, all that kind of stuff, that doesn't lead anywhere. So this is part of this overconsumption cycle. So when you get to a point where you realize that a lot of these things are just a waste of time, that's when you start to really refine and become powerful in life. So for me, what I've noticed is food is one of those things. I've changed my whole diet. I've become vegetarian. I didn't think I'd go back to vegetarianism, but I have. And I first was a vegetarian when I was about 15 years old. But now, since the age of 28, I came back to it after nearly 10 years of not being vegetarian. And so what's happened is there was this, I think it's part of the whole kind of raising the serpent or the kundalini energy and all that sort of stuff. And I think part of what happens is you start to create empathy and you start to feel things inside you. Like in your heart center, you say to yourself, hang on a second, it doesn't feel right for me to be consuming this, okay? It doesn't feel right for me to, you know, want to consume this dead animal, right? That's not a good thing, okay? In the past, I used to think like that it was okay, but that was because I wasn't on the self-preservation and semen retention journey. I was just doing what everyone else was doing. So as you can see behind me, I've got the green light. I wanted to make today's live stream kind of full of that green kind of energy, that nice kind of, you know, heart chakra based type of energy. And part of the semen retention or celibacy and self-preservation journey is to have a pure heart. That's how we get to these higher levels of spirituality and how we become better people overall, is that we have to open our heart. Our heart it's a receiver. We've got plenty of receivers in our body. We've got at least 7 main ones, okay? We've got our crown, our third eye, our throat, our heart, our solar plexus, our sacral, and our root. And they all receive different energies, right? Whereas the heart being the core, it is the center of our universe as a human being. The heart is the core of us. And to open your heart and to open your heart chakra, 1111 just hit on the live stream, we've just got to be able to have more empathy, and we've got to be able to approach our lives, especially as men, with, you know, an understanding that whilst we are masculine, we need to also balance it with a feminine understanding, right? So an understanding meaning that there are going to be some people that you encounter on your journey that aren't on the same level as you. They haven't ascended yet. They haven't realized these kind of things. So when it comes to over-consuming, you know, garbage, let's just say, okay, let's say they scroll on TikTok all day and they watch images of men thrusting their crotch into the camera, because that's what they're used to. They're used to going on TikTok and scrolling through these things and noticing these kind of sexual things that are being like thrusted literally in their face. So what I come to realize is that we got to have empathy for those people, and we got to try and educate them. We got to try and educate them as to thinking, what is it that they need? Okay, so I've tried in the past to educate people, and I've had empathy towards them. And they are I'm gonna be completely honest, the longer you go on this semen retention journey, a lot of people are gonna fall in love with you. A lot of people are gonna fall in love with you. And the hardest thing that I'm starting to realize is trying to choose someone. But the thing is that I feel like in life, you don't really choose things. You do choose things, but you don't choose things and from like I have to choose this type of angle. Usually there are things that work behind the scenes in your life that kind of guide you towards your decision, okay? So have a think about that, just how in your life you're going to be guided towards making a decision. Usually the best decisions are made from your heart. So when it comes to, you know, what you consume, if you're on semen retention, this might be of interest. So I hit 15 months of semen retention this year, and I broke my streak because I started to toy with the idea of, you know, dating apps and meeting up with women and stuff. And this was all as a result of seeing someone at one of my gigs, and I had a one-night stand with this girl at my gig. And then after that, I kind of got infected, so to say, by the kind of lust virus, you know? And basically what happened is that I was chasing that feeling again and again. I was like, oh, okay, I gotta find another girl again. And I still won't bust a nut, you know, I still won't, you know, release, I won't ejaculate or anything like that, but I will find another woman. So I went on these dating apps, and then, you know, sure enough, found a girl within like a week of, you know, signing up to these dating apps. And I held on to my seed. Then she showed me signs of like disrespect and all that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, I don't want to meet her again. And then the next girl I met on another dating app, and then basically she came over and, you know, she was cool. She was, you know, very into me and all that kind of stuff, and I was kind of into her. She was a bit kind of unintelligent, let's just say, but I thought I could help her. And this is one of the things that I'm realizing part of the semen retention journey is you start to realize some of your complexes and personality type, you know, things that you've got wrong with you. So for example, for me, what I realize is that when I am in these kind of relationships or meeting people, sometimes I think that I can fix these people, but that's not going to be a good thing. Never try that. Never try that. And for me on semen retention, I start to realize that there's no point trying to fix people. You should just try and attract people that are compatible with you. So I got to the point where, you know, I actually ended up, you know, busting a nut after 15 months. And I was like, this is crazy, I can't believe this happened. And then I kind of woke up and I was like, yeah, wow, I really don't resonate with this girl. Like, maybe I was thinking from a kind of lust angle, but hey, Luke Wright, how you going? Hope you're having a good night, or wherever you are. Let me know whereabouts you are. But yeah, so I'm talking here today about like semen retention, self-preservation, celibacy, and how it makes you actually consume less in life. And so what I ended up realizing after that is I kind of felt the remorse of breaking my 15-month streak. I felt the remorse of something that had really helped me, you know, climb the ladder, so to speak. And I wasted it through pursuing lust. And I realized that was pretty stupid of me. I shouldn't have done that. And then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna push ahead. I'm gonna keep going. And then after a month, I was thinking about her, and then I think I sent her a text or something like that. And then we had a chat, and then she came over literally that night. Like, she came over straight away. Like, at like 11:45 p.m. at night, she came over. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, what? Like, you know, it was kind of funny. And then I ended up, you know, breaking another streak. So right now, as of that night, it is day 77 back on the self-preservation thing. And I realized that I was like, that was the nail in the coffin for me. I was like, no more apps, no more cheap booty calls and all that kind of stuff. I gotta go meet like an actual, like, you know, intelligent, or at least like someone that's like coming from a more pure place. And part of that means that you have to purify yourself as well. And how do you purify yourself? Well, for me, I'm starting to realize a lot of that is about what you consume. Like, for example, if someone's got a negative energy, you don't bother about consuming it. You don't react to it, because you're like, what's the point in like exchanging energy with something that's negative, you know? Hey, Pokemon J, how you going? And yeah, so basically that's kind of how I go ahead with this self-preservation journey. Guys, if you're just joined this live stream, I'm talking about self-preservation and semen retention for all you guys out there, and how it actually enhances your life, and how you get to a point where you stop consuming as much and you actually have a really good life. So the reason why this happens is because we're so depleted in our dopamine receptors. Like, for example, you might be watching too much porn, and what happens is that you actually deplete your dopamine system, and you are rewarding yourself when you're watching that material. And because your body thinks you're procreating, right? Your body thinks you're having a baby, but you're not. You're not making a baby, okay? So what happens is that you deplete your dopamine levels, and then you start consuming more and more. So that could be consuming more online material, could be consuming more garbage food, could be smoking, could be drinking, could be, pursuing pointless friendships that do nothing for you. Could be watching professional sports that does nothing for you. Could be following celebrities. All of this stuff is just irrelevant bullshit, and it does nothing in your life. So when you go on this self-preservation and semen retention journey, you actually get to a point where you're like, you know what, I gotta like hold on to this. I gotta hold on to this and keep going. So what I've noticed is when you get into this self-preservation and like non-overconsumption type business, you start to look around and you're like, oh wow, we really are over-consuming like everything. We're over-consuming TV, we're over-consuming food, we're over-consuming just living. Like, we should just be chilling more. Like, think about it, guys. We didn't have to work 9 to 5, 5 days a week back in the day. And we used to take rests. We used to wake up at 4 a.m. and just like be amongst the stars for a little bit. And then we'd take a rest in the middle of the day. We didn't actually have this binary kind of like sleep and then you're awake type thing. We actually used to have sleep, wake, sleep, wake, sleep. So we'd had this kind of, trifecta like rhythm that allowed us to remain calm and energetic rather than juicing ourselves up with caffeine, rather than juicing ourselves up with nicotine, rather than juicing ourselves up with some sort of like steroid or pre-workout or something like that because we want to get swole. I mean, you look at the guys that get all swole, but then when you look at them when they're 50 and 60 and they look like you could just prick them with a needle and they'd explode. Like, they look like they're going to die any second of a heart attack. It's sad, man. It's sad. Like, they shouldn't be consuming that much. And if they were practicing semen retention and on this self-preservation journey, they would actually be able to kind of have a long life, a good life, a relaxed, nice life. Like, think about it. The animals, like, they just, when they feel like eating, they go eat. They don't see the time. They don't see the sun in the sky. They're like, hang on, the sun is at 12 o'clock right now. I've got to go. I've got to go eat now. It's like, no. They listen to their body, and then they're like, okay, I need to go eat some food. And they go eat some food, okay? We've been fooled. We've been fooled into this overconsumption type, world. And it's pretty crazy. So if you've just joined this live stream talking about self-preservation, celibacy, semen retention, and how it relates to how we are over-consuming in our daily lives. So guys, let me know if you have any questions about, what overconsumption is to you, how you're going on your semen retention journey, what you've been up to, like what's your streak at the moment. If you want to know more about semen retention, go to my channel, Semen Retention, and, figure out what's been happening, look at all the other videos, and I'm sure you'll learn quite a lot about what semen retention is. It's changed my life. It's made me a great human being, whereas the people that don't practice it, they usually even struggle to have confidence. So I would say if you've never tried semen retention before, definitely try it. If you're a female, I don't know what you can do. Just try, being completely celibate and go through your cycles. And then, obviously when you find a man, that you think is actually going to be someone worthwhile of being your husband or your the father of your child or something like that, then go do whatever you want. But like, I think for our society to move forward, we would actually be beneficial of, of actually preserving ourselves a lot more. And this will have an impact on the environment. We won't be consuming as much food. We won't be killing as many animals. We won't be killing, destroying as much land and all that kind of stuff to make all this technology and stuff. We wouldn't need to be, you know, getting drunk all the time, because we'd actually have the dopamine. It would be in our head, and we'd actually be happy with what we're doing, and we'd be confident. We'd be confident about ourselves because we've got that self-preservation. We're not wasting this vital life essence that's inside of us. So, you know, I see the self-preservation journey as being something that would absolutely change the whole landscape of our reality. Our whole planet would completely shift into like a higher frequency if we were to just say no to, you know, to busting a nut. So guys, I'm going to end this live stream right here. If you enjoyed this live stream, Mia Moore, yeah, I am Australian. Yeah, whereabouts are you from? Yeah, guys, I've been talking about self-preservation, semen retention, and basically how it's going to benefit the world. And just one last thing before I go, I want to mention how we are really we need people to get on this semen retention SR journey, right? We need people to actually, like, you know, get the balls and to go on this journey. We need people to actually, you know, take a stance and be a leader for a change. Like, how many times do you walk around and you just look at all these NPCs out there, all these NPCs that just followed the script of this Matrix kind of life? Like, they're all just hopeless. They get so jealous of you when you're on semen retention. Like, when you're on semen retention, you get so much jealousy from people. Like, my neighbor, he like his girlfriend literally came out from me, like from the outside. She came out in her pajamas when she knew I was outside. And then I was just like, and I was like, oh, hey, how you going? And she's just like, oh, hey. And I'm like, cool, catch up. But I just like moved off because I'm like, I don't want to do this. But this is the thing is that you're going to get these weird interactions and all that kind of stuff. It happens all the time, and you get a lot of female attraction, but it's not about the attraction. What it is it's about them understanding and looking at you and seeing your pure kind of spirit, and they're seeing your glow, your face looks good, your eyes are bright. Obviously you can't see anything because I've got these stupid lights on. But like, all this kind of stuff is a result of retaining your seed. So, you know, this is how we have to go forward. I'm going to read some comments, and then we'll, if no one's sticking around, I might end this live stream. But Mia Moore, Aussie too, mate. Oh, cool, man. That's good. It's good to have some Aussies in. I thought of doing a live stream tonight at this hour because I was like, chances are I might actually get some Australians, which is good. Shannon Graham, goodbye. See you later. Ghost Cherry says, bloody Aussies, let's go. Yeah, mate, that's it. Oh, Mia Moore, yes. Aussie, woohoo, preach. Yeah, that's it, guys. So stay on this semen retention journey. If you don't know anything about semen retention, you know, check it out. But yeah, it is quite late here. It's 10:18 right now, and I'm going to zip it and go, but check out all my other videos, and see you next time, guys. Catch ya.